I know where there's some, right here in the hall, clerk.
No, Molly, not in there. I have
At this point, I've got the electrolytic capacitors replaced. There's one here that's new, and in here, where all the rest of them are, these two replace the filter caps, which were dual caps in a single package that feels like ceramic. Interesting, I've seen old ones, the waxy paper caps and tube radios like this, but I've never seen a epoxy-filled ceramic tube like that before with two capacitors in it, but why not? And finally, the last one is back in here. This was a 50 microfarad cap. What they sent me was a 4.7. So what I replaced it with, I happened to have some 47 microfarad caps at 50 volts or 100 volts, can't remember which. Anyway, so that one managed to snuggle back in that corner. So at this point, the very next thing is to clean up the switch contacts here and on this side, and hook the speaker back up and put the batteries in the existing battery pack and try it out. So we'll do that next. Okay, speaker is clipped in, batteries are in the battery pack. We'll turn it on here, see if it works. Turn off our noisy light. Alright, I can't turn this tuning cap by hand because of the vernier.
Recruiter.com/free. Auto manufacturer specifications and recommendations. What exactly does that mean?
Wow. This thing has a ton of volume.
To repair a vehicle to pre-loss condition. It means choosing to do what's right over what's convenient. You see?
He wanted to make 100. And then I remember talking to him like right before he turned 94. And I said,
800. Click on. Officer for Law and Justice, or even going back to case.
Focus on you, not your shedding.
Spanish, French, German, and more. It just takes 10 to 15 minutes a day. Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning
it's hard. It really is. You know, you spend all your money on these and the conditions of these bars can change dramatically.
Okay, I think our component switch out was a success. What we'll do next is take a look at the old caps. These are the old caps right here. We'll take a look at them and see how they fared from 1958 and check them out. So set this aside for the moment and move on. And taking a look at the caps, we'll use this cheap ESL meter. I'll show you a better copy of this. I'll bring up a better copy of this schematic. But the first tool we'll look at is this dual cap. There we're showing a C1 and C2 in the schematic. And they were both 100 microfarad. It's supposed to be 100 microfarad electrolytics. It's this guy right here. As I said, it's a twin cap inside a single package. 100 microfarad, 10 volts. It's a nice package, filled with epoxy, it feels like, and it does feel like ceramic to me. So kind of a shame it doesn't work anymore. Let's get it on the ESR meter and see what it says. Okay, that leg of this 100 microfarad cap is actually measuring 35 picofarads, and it isn't even showing as an electrolytic at this point. So let's take a look at the other half. So that looks 34 picofarad, and again not showing as an electrolytic. So this thing has failed completely. And just to validate that the ESR meter is working, we'll take a look at this new, what is this? Very tiny print. 4.7 microfarad electrolytic. So we'll see what the ESR meter says about a new one, just to make sure that the meter is working. And it shows it as an electrolytic, 5 microfarads with a loss of 0.6%, which is nothing, and an ESR value of 1.8 ohms, which is very good. So that's what you would expect from a new electrolytic cap. So now we'll move on to this waxy paper one. It's supposed to be 50 microfarads at 12 volts. And boy, those are cheap leads. Jeez. And this one is coming in at 80 microfarad. ESR is 10 ohms, so that's really high. And the voltage loss is 4%, so that's really high too. So this one could theoretically, I suppose, be reconditioned to work more properly. But again, it's a paper cap, and we don't trust those. So that's 2 down, 2 to go, 3 down actually. This one is 16 microfarad at 3 volts. And these guys go up in here. This is the output section of the radio. So one of the reasons it has so much volume is it has a nice push-pull output. And there's the in essence the preamp for the push-pull output. But the 3 microfarad cap is right in here, feeding the base of that driver transistor there. So we'll see what it's doing in the capacitor world. Oops. $251 picofarad, not quite 16 or 3 microfarads, or 16 microfarads rather. So another fail. Again, these appear to be a ceramic case. Yeah, so it's a cap encapsulated in a ceramic case. And here's the 3 microfarad. See what that's doing. And it's 190 puff. And look at the loss, 86%. So this one is leaking like a sieve. It's more of a resistor than a capacitor at this point. All right, so it was a good idea to replace the caps. Those are all failed. And next next thing I want to do is set this aside and take a look at getting the front panel of the case off. I want to clean this up, and I want to clean the leather. And I want to replace the disc that's gone here, and I think I'm going to have to figure out how to get that bolt off the lid so I can do that. So we'll look in here, And to get the front panel off and get it cleaned, as I said the other day, there appear to be these speed nuts. I'll have to find the right driver. Be right back. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these speed nuts in place. These are used to be used in cars a lot. We'll take those out. Oops. Pardon my arm. And 2 more. One more. Okay. And the front panel comes free. It's an interesting design because this really is all leather case, and the radio is quite heavy. They couldn't just fasten it to the bottom because the bottom flexes, nor could they just fasten it to the front because the front flexes. It's also leather, and there's what's left of that nasty looking speaker cover, grow cloth. Gross. So what they did was they put, in essence, put hard points on the metal of the grill itself. The grill is quite heavy, quite a heavy piece of metal. And this is where the chassis mounts, on those four posts right there. Then the speed nuts go on these guys, and speed nuts don't require much for threads, so that worked pretty well. So what I'll do now is take this into the kitchen and hit it with a scrub brush and see if it cleans up. Hopefully the water won't wash. You might be able to see, yeah, right there. It says Nav in red paint and NOR, or for normal, in black, and on this side is Long Wave in red and BC in black. So hopefully that won't take those colors off, but I'll go give it a wash and bring it back and we'll see. All right, that cleaned up pretty well. I keep getting fingerprints all over it. I applied some Brasso to the Zenith badge, so that's looking pretty good. If it'll come in focus. Hello. Yeah, there you go. So that's looking pretty good as well. I'll set that aside. And oh, the paint remained, thank goodness. So if I can just stop putting fingerprints on it, I'll set it aside and we're good to go with this. So the next thing I wanted to look at was whether I could get this bolt looking thing out of there so I could put a new disc on. Well, I don't know what that is. I don't know if you can see it down in there. It's an odd looking, it looks almost like a nut. Maybe it is. I'm going to try to unscrew that from the outside here. Let's see. Boy, I can't get a hold of it. No turning on that. Let me poke at this a bit. If I come up with anything, I'll be back. Okay, I'm not finding a way. There's a brass washer right there that spins fairly freely, but this domed or semi-domed nut right there appears to be part of this. So it looks almost like a rivet. I don't see any threads in there at all. So I don't know. I'll have to see if I can find something about that somewhere online. I kind of doubt it, but maybe. So the next thing to do is put this back together. Get in there. I'll polish up these two brass fittings for the handle, and I'll take, we have some leather conditioner on hand, Lexol. I don't know if it cleans or not, and I don't know how old it is, but I'll try that. See if we can get this leather cleaned up some. I need to pull that nasty, disgusting thing off and try to find something that has that same sort of weave on it for a new girl cloth. So I think that's it for this one. The radio is working. The front panel's cleaned up. I'll find a new piece of cloth and I'll give this leather a good working over. And next time you see it, it should be cleaned up and all back together. That's it for now. Stay safe. See ya.